In the still of the night, nestled in the peaceful village of Tolshant, DRC, Essex, an unimaginable tragedy was about to unfold. The White House farm, home to the Bamber family, would become the scene of one of the most shocking and mysterious crimes in British history. What initially seemed like a murder-suicide soon evolved into a tangled web of deception, betrayal, and unanswered questions. This is the story of the White House farm family massacre. The Bamber family appeared to live an idyllic life. Neville and June Bamber, both in their early 60s, ran a prosperous farm. They were well-liked in their community, known for their dedication to their work and their faith. They had 2 adopted children, Jeremy and Sheila. Jeremy Bamber. The youngest of the 2 was a tall, charming man. On the surface, he appeared successful, yet his relationship with his adoptive parents was strained. Neville and June often criticized Jeremy for being too lazy and not taking an interest in the family farm. Jeremy, in turn, resented their constant disapproval. This tension had been simmering for years, and though they maintained a polite facade, the cracks were widening. Sheila, the older of the 2 children, had a troubled life. Her beauty and early success as a model hid a much darker side. Sheila had been diagnosed with schizophrenia, and though she was an affectionate mother to her twin sons, Nicholas and Daniel, her mental health issues often put a strain on her relationships. Sheila's marriage to a man named David Caffell had crumbled. He had been abusive, and the 2 had divorced. Afterward, Sheila had difficulty adjusting to life as a single mother, and in the weeks leading up to the tragedy, she had become increasingly agitated. On the surface, she appeared to be battling personal demons, but could it have gone much deeper than anyone had realized? It was in the early hours of August 7, 1985, around 3:30 a.m., when Jeremy Bamber received a call that would change his life forever. The call came from his father, Neville. In a panic, Neville told Jeremy that Sheila had gone mad and was firing a rifle around the house. Neville's voice was filled with terror. Jeremy, who lived nearby, said he was too far away to help and urged Neville to call the police immediately. Minutes later, Jeremy dialed the police himself, claiming that his parents were in danger and Sheila had gone on a rampage with a firearm. When police arrived, they found a grisly scene inside White House farm. Neville and June Bamber had been shot dead in separate rooms. Sheila was found in her bedroom with a rifle beside her, seemingly dead from a gunshot wound to her neck. The 2 young children, Nicholas and Daniel, were also found dead in their beds, each shot at point-blank range. Initially, it seemed like a tragic case of murder-suicide. Sheila, in a psychotic episode, had killed her family before ending her own life, but as investigators delved deeper into the case, things didn't add up. The rifle found by Sheila's side had a silencer attached. This raised immediate questions. How could Sheila, in the midst of her psychotic breakdown, have attached the silencer to the rifle in such a calm and deliberate manner? It seemed odd for someone in a frantic, unstable state to make such an effort to silence the weapon. What's more, Sheila's hands showed no traces of gunpowder residue, something that would be expected if she had fired the weapon multiple times. Could she have really killed her family? Or was there another explanation? As the investigation unfolded, police began focusing on Jeremy. His actions following the murders raised suspicions. Despite the horrific loss of his family, Jeremy appeared unusually calm. His reaction to the news was cold, even detached, and friends and family noted that he seemed more focused on his inheritance than on grieving for the people he had just lost in the aftermath. Jeremy's behavior struck many as bizarre. While others mourned, Jeremy was seen casually going about his business. He even joked about how he could now sell off the family's farm, indicating he was more concerned with the estate than his family's deaths. Furthermore, Jeremy's interactions with the police were unsettlingly smooth. He didn't seem to be in shock or mourning. Instead, he seemed almost too prepared, as though he knew exactly what to say. But the most crucial piece of evidence came when his girlfriend, Julie Mugford, stepped forward. She had been dating Jeremy at the time of the murders, and her testimony was explosive. Julie revealed that Jeremy had often spoken of wanting to kill his parents in order to inherit their wealth. He allegedly told her that he wanted to free himself from his parents' control and that the family farm and its fortune would set him free. Julie's testimony painted a chilling picture. She revealed that Jeremy had discussed plans to kill his parents for months leading up to the murders. According to Julie, Jeremy had even tried to hire a hitman but later decided to carry out the killings himself. Julie wasn't the only one who spoke out. Jeremy's family and friends described his cold, calculating nature. They said he was motivated by greed, a desire to get rid of his parents and take control of the family fortune. But it wasn't just about the money. Jeremy had long harbored resentment toward his parents for controlling his life and undermining his ambitions. Sheila, meanwhile, had become a convenient scapegoat. Jeremy planted evidence to make it look like she was the killer. The investigators were beginning to connect the dots. Jeremy had a motive, and his behavior only made him more suspicious. In 1986, Jeremy Bamber was charged with the murders of his family. The prosecution argued that Jeremy had meticulously planned the massacre. They pointed to the silencer found in the house and the lack of gunpowder residue on Sheila's hands. They also highlighted Jeremy's calmness in the aftermath of the killings, his strange remarks about his inheritance, and his history of resentment toward his parents. The defense, however, maintained that Jeremy was innocent. They claimed that Sheila had indeed committed the murders, driven by her mental illness. But the evidence was overwhelming. After weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated and returned a verdict of guilty. Jeremy Bamber was convicted of 5 counts of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. Though Jeremy Bamber has spent decades behind bars, questions remain. Over the years, he has repeatedly claimed his innocence. Supporters argue that the investigation was flawed, and some believe that Jeremy was framed. They point to the lack of physical evidence tying him to the crime, and the suspicious handling of the case by the police. Despite numerous appeals and petitions for a retrial, Jeremy remains behind bars, still insisting that he is innocent. The White House Farm massacre remains a dark chapter in British history, with its tragic, unsolved mysteries continuing to haunt those who followed the case. The murders at White House Farm continue to captivate the public's imagination. Was Jeremy Bamber a cold-blooded killer, or is he the victim of a miscarriage of justice? One thing is certain: the truth behind the massacre may never fully come to light. Thank you for watching. Join us next time as we delve into another chilling true crime story.